So the channel just hit 1,000 subscribers, and I couldn't be more grateful for all of you who are sticking around and showing your support. It means the world to me to see this channel grow as fast as it's been going. So I pushed out some other planned videos I had, because the biggest request in that last one was a part 2, so I felt as my thank you to all of you for the support, I'd get that list together earlier than expected to show how much I appreciate you all. So here's another collection of at least 10 films you will never see. Some of these just didn't make the cut for part 1, and some were suggestions made in the comments of the last video that I hadn't heard of. But the goal is to keep it at films that are completed, or at least reported as being completed. A link to part 1 will be down in the description. Before I get started, I wanted to address quickly a few of the things in the last video. Yes, I said Cannes Film Festival wrong. I admit that. My apologies. Nothing Lasts Forever is sort of available, but I base it on the idea that it is not readily available or easy to find. A lot of people didn't agree with my take on Batgirl, though I stand by my feelings about it. There is a little bit more to that story. The tax write-off that the WB did for that film also led to that film being destroyed in its entirety. So no one will ever see whatever version was completed because there is no copy of it available anywhere. And lastly, a few people got annoyed that I did not mention that Kevin Spacey was acquitted of all of his charges back in July. To be fair, the focus of that video is not Kevin Spacey or his charges, just the film he was working on when the charges came about. And even with the acquittal, it's unlikely that film will see the light of day. But it might. If it came off anyway that I was ignoring his acquittal, it was just that I didn't want to dwell on it. The video wasn't about that. Either way, as a fan of his work, I'm all for him putting his career back together, but we won't know if it'll happen until it starts showing up. Let's get this one started with Allstar Weekend. So, I remember seeing this clip of Jamie Foxx talking about this film.
I got a movie that we just shot for little or nothing called Allstar Weekend, and the jokes are like all the way out there, and it's I got everybody in it, and we all play different characters. Like I play a white racist cop.
And then it completely left my memory. Apparently, it's real, and it's finished, and it's shelved. Because Fox says the type of comedy in the film might be something that people are not ready for. There was a lot of controversy behind one particular casting. This film has a lot of big hitters, but one in particular is Robert Downey Jr., who's played it says just Mexican. It's meant to be sort of this reminiscent role of his role in Tropic Thunder. The only difference is Kirk Lazarus is a joke on method actors, where this was, I don't know. But this might get released if there is no concern of heavy backlash, but it's been 6 years and there's no sign of it. This is the first of 2 animated films on this list, and it's another Brendan Fraser film that got shelved after it was finished. But this one also stars Marlon Brando? It's listed as his last official role after The Score in 2001. It's an animated film, so they only needed to do voice recordings for him, but at that time in June 2006, Brando had to be on an oxygen machine for 6 hours a day minimum. The recording for the character was only for 3 scenes in the entirety of the movie, but Brando describes the role as the most fun he's had since playing Julius Caesar. Unfortunately, he died the very next month. The film itself is about a man who is bitten by a bug, so he becomes a superhero. I can't find a reason why the film was never released, but it's possible that the death of Marlon Brando might have been a part of that. Moving on to Hippie Hippie Shake. A film about London in the 60s sounds interesting. It initially started production in 1998, and it's based on a memoir titled Hippie Hippie Shake, The Dreams, The Trips, The Trials, The Love-ins, The Screw-Ups, The 60s. Written by Richard Neville about his years editing for Oz Magazine, which is a radical London magazine from the 60s. Production then got delayed, and then picked up again in 2002. It then got delayed again. It pops up for the last time in 2007, where filming finally begins, with a planned release for 2009. But due to creative differences, most of those that started the film dropped out during post-production. There were some test screenings done in 2008 with reviews that are in the middle. Some things being liked and other things felt kind of predictable. Production might not have been fully completed, so it's hard to say if it's 100% finished, but there's no other reports of it, so whatever state it was in when they screened it, that's as finished as it's going to get. Here's another weird one to try to find information on. The Long Home, which is based on a novel of the same name, was this indie project produced, directed, and starring James Franco. It took 23 days to film in 2015 and had an expected release of 2017. I've read that it apparently had a limited release that year, but you can't find it anywhere, and this was also right around the time he began having sexual misconduct charges brought against him. So the film probably got shelved for that reason. And just so we're all aware, he eventually admitted to the allegations being charged on him. So maybe the allegations is not why The Long Home wasn't released, but it doesn't look like we're getting it anytime soon. Now this next one is directed by the guy who played Schwartz in A Christmas Story, Don's Plum. It's meant to be a depiction of friends that meet every Saturday night and argue about their trials and tribulations unscripted. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire as the second time they worked together on a film. However, once it was finished, DiCaprio and Maguire stopped the film from being distributed because they signed on for a short film, not a full-length feature. It apparently did some releases in Berlin and Denmark in 2001, and then the duo had it buried. A website called freedonsplum.com pops up in 2014 where it streamed free to watch, but was taken down in 2016. That website was hosted by Dale Whitley, one of the writers and producers for the film. You could essentially find the film if you do some digging, but it isn't readily available. They seem to be on point with getting it struck down when they catch it, but you can find it these days, and for a while, you just couldn't. Now here's the second animated film on this list. Remember that Scoob movie from 2020 that sort of got mixed reviews? So WB was working on a prequel film. I didn't originally put this on the first list because when I was doing reading about it, it had stated that the film wasn't finished yet. But I found some other articles to the contrary. This is a film that became a victim of the many scrapped plans that the WB was doing to save and cut costs. As Batgirl was cancelled for a tax write-off, this film that they invested $40 million into and was almost done was also cancelled. However, I did find out that the directors and basically the entire team behind the film initially finished the production without the WB being involved in it at all. Upon its secretive completion, the director stated on Instagram, "I really hope you get to see it somehow." This was over a year ago, so it doesn't look like we're getting that anytime soon, unless someone leaks it. I'm just saying. This next one is a bit hard to find some information on, but this is just an example of a bad film never seeing the light of day. This 2013 film starring Alicia Silverstone is based on a novel of the same name, Gods Behaving Badly, by Marie Phillips. It's about a couple who cross paths with Greek gods living in New York. It premiered at one film festival and was never released officially after its reception was all negative. And there's no leaks or there's no digging it up either. This one is completely gone. These next two are also gone and very difficult to find any information on. Shooter on the Side from 1996 stars in some capacity Corey Haim. There really is nothing regarding his character, along with there being not much about the film except for the synopsis on IMDB. After his wife's betrayal destroys his faith in women, a bartender begins a dangerous affair with his boss's wife. Now, Corey isn't the bartender. I can't find anything about what his character is, but he's credited on the box art for the film itself. You can see him pictured down in the corner of that same box art, and he shows up in the trailer that you can find online. The box art and subtitles tell me it's Russian, so maybe it's hiding somewhere over there. I have no idea. It's just interesting that this exists, but you really can't find it or any other information for it. Just like this next one, The Dead Sea from 2014, also starring Corey Haim. As part of his film history, it's the last film he's credited for, even though he wasn't even in it. It's a posthumous credit that the production crew did for him in his memory, but the film is nowhere to be found. It's got another simple synopsis, but even that last one had a little bit more information to go off of it. Now, don't get this confused with Dead Sea, a film also released in 2014 that's sort of a creature feature. I don't know, it's just still interesting that there's nothing about this film either. And last but not least, do you guys remember Tom Green? Maybe there are still some real diehard fans about him, but he's the weird dude from the early 90s that was pranking people sort of like how Punk'd and Jackass did, but he was doing it before they even came around. Although his shtick is more awkward comedy and utilizing a bit of shock humor. He had a long-running TV show on MTV, then he picked up a few minor roles in films like Charlie's Angels, Road Trip, Superstar. Then he had a gloriously poor film called Freddy Got Fingered, released in 2001.
I'm being creative. Now, if you'll excuse me, I still have some work to do.
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages? Daddy, would you like some sausage? Sausages, sausages.
His film career isn't the brightest shining star, but sometime around 2010 he announced that he had finished a film called Prankster, something he had been working on independently for some time. After he made the announcement, fans had asked when that film would be released, and he said, "Stay tuned, it's the craziest movie I have ever made." It's 2024, and that film has yet to be released. So, I don't know what else to say to that. That's all the information that there is, so maybe we'll see it? I don't know. But hey, I think part 2 was a great success, and another fascinating look into film history. These are so much fun to do, and I found some others for ideas for the next set of videos coming down the pipeline. If you know of some other hidden gems that fall in line with this, that are out there in the movie world, leave them down in the comments. Thanks for watching this one, and I hope you stick around for the next one. Cheers.